From improv gigs to becoming one of the most famous faces in commercial history, Stephanie Courtney is more than just memorable Progressive ads. Before Flo from Progressive was even a concept, Stephanie Courtney was born in Stony Point, New York in February 1970. Growing up, she was surrounded by classic films and musicals due to her parents' love of the arts and her close proximity to Broadway shows, so she quickly developed a passion for performance. Speaking to Cosmopolitan in April 2015, Courtney revealed the following. I had a very normal childhood, other than the fact that I was in plays all the time. By the time I got to middle school, we did a play a year, and I was in all of them. In high school, we did a fall and spring musical. I would even show up to rehearsals I wasn't supposed to be at. I loved everything about it, and I was never bored by it. Courtney was inspired by Kevin Kline after watching his performance in The Pirates of Penzance, and she realized that she too could make a career out of acting. When she decided that this was her path in life, she never looked back. During a 2009 interview with Binghamton University magazine, Courtney said, "I was never tortured over whether I wanted to become an actor. There was never another option in my mind." Although Courtney knew she wanted to be an actor, she dealt with a few setbacks. She first auditioned for a scholarship at the Penguin Repertory Theater, but didn't make the cut. So, with some insistence from her father that she attend college, she enrolled at Binghamton University for her degree in English. Speaking to Cosmopolitan, she said, "I did plays, and then one year, one of my acting teachers said, 'You should really go to a Meisner technique class. It's an improv-based acting technique.'"
And got such amazing training that by the time I went to New York to acting school, I was pretty comfortable.
So after graduating from Binghamton University in 1992, the young actor went off to the neighborhood playhouse in New York City and spent the next 2 years studying what she was truly passionate about. Courtney loved the environment of her acting classes, but she had to make ends meet while she was in school. She added, "That's when I also realized that I was going to have a bunch of survival jobs and I would have to get comfortable with being fired a lot." Courtney worked as a waitress, a grocer, and a telephone operator during her time at school, but after she left, the neighborhood playhouse was when the grind really began. She auditioned constantly between 1995 and 1996, while also writing and putting on plays with friends, but she soon found another group she resonated with. Auditions had been grueling. However, in 1996, when Courtney was invited to perform in her friend's comedy show, Newborn Comics, Actors Who Stand Up, she seemed to have found her calling. Courtney told Cosmopolitan, "She invited me and said I had 2 weeks to come up with 6 minutes to perform in a comedy club. That changed everything for me. Comedy felt a lot more comfortable." That same year, Courtney was discovered by Naomi Odenkirk, the wife of Bob Odenkirk and manager of comedians like Bill Hader. Odenkirk offered to represent the soon-to-be Flo if she moved to Los Angeles. Courtney said, "By that time, it had been some fun but very hard years, so I was like, absolutely." She moved across the country with her sister in 1997 and landed in Los Angeles, where they attended an improv show at the Groundlings. It then became her mission to become a core member of the company. When Courtney attended her first Groundlings show, everything changed. In an interview with Broadway World in 2020, she said, "It blew my mind. The cast included Mindy Sterling, Cheryl Hines, Michael McDonald, and Holly Mandel. I signed up for classes the next day." With the hopes of making it big in the Los Angeles comedy arena, Courtney put her blood, sweat, and tears into the Groundlings. She climbed the ranks of the improv group and followed in the footsteps of other notable members like Lisa Kudrow and Melissa McCarthy. However, Courtney was still disappointed that she couldn't win over the executives at Saturday Night Live, who would often attend shows in search of the next star. Although she didn't make it to the SNL stage, her time at the Groundlings wasn't for nothing. To this day, she still performs in many shows with the troupe.
Sometimes I get really super excited to do an improv show and I'm really hungry for laughs.
Courtney was working hard at her stand-up routines, and she continued to attend auditions in the hopes of landing enough work to pay her bills. Eventually, her agent suggested a lucrative alternative: commercials. Courtney told Backstage, "She worked hard to get me a commercial agent. I booked a really good one early on and spent all that money in a month, then crawled back to all my survival jobs. That really good one was a spot in a 1999 Super Bowl commercial for Bud Light. It paid well because it was a Super Bowl commercial, and it continued to air for several weeks afterward, allowing the actors to claim residuals. On top of commercials, she began auditioning for television roles as well. However, Courtney was landing only less than one paid job a year and relied heavily on catering and babysitting gigs. In 1998, Courtney booked her first credited role on a television show, Mr. Show with Bob and David. From then on, she began landing minor, one-off roles on shows like Angel, Everybody Loves Raymond, and Without a Trace. And although it took her many years before she would become a series regular, it wasn't for a lack of trying. Courtney even tried out for some iconic characters, like Pam Beesly on The Office and Joan Harris on Mad Men. While she didn't get the roles, she did eventually secure the part of Marge on season 1 of Mad Men and managed to blend right in. Speaking to Cosmopolitan, Courtney said, "Originally, I auditioned for Joan for Mad Men. They said, 'You didn't get that, but will you play a switchboard operator instead?' I said, 'Sure.' Then I saw Christina Hendricks in that emerald dress and I went, 'Oh, I get it now.'" Flo from Progressive is a character that seems practically made for Courtney, and it's hard to imagine her being played by anyone else. In an interview with Cosmopolitan, the actor explained how she got the gig. With commercial auditions, less is usually more, but this was a big character. She was funny, she loved her job, and she loved her customers. So I thought, she'll love them to a fault where she's walking the line of crazy. It's like the love just spills over and becomes a tiny bit inappropriate. After auditioning with just one line, Courtney secured a callback and received the news that she would be Progressive's Flo in December 2007. Just a month later, her first commercial with the insurance company aired, and as more commercials were shot, it became a regular job she could begin to rely on. After appearing in the commercials for nearly 2 years, Courtney revealed how she felt about the experience to Cleveland.com. She said, "You're not expected to love commercials, but the fact that people enjoy them makes me extremely happy because I know that some people don't get a choice what commercials they have to watch during a show."
We surprised you. On occasion, we've probably even annoyed you.
Aside from the brilliant training and recognition Courtney received while working with the Groundlings, there was another life-changing element that arose from her time with the troupe. The actor met the venue's lighting director, Scott Kalanock, and married him in November 2008. She told People, "Every crazy old lady character I ever walked out as on that stage had beautiful peachy gem lighting because he liked me." The happy couple welcomed their first child together 5 years later. Courtney admitted that getting a bit of a later start in life has been beneficial for her. She said, "I booked Flo when I was just about to turn 38. I got married at 35. I had my kid at 40. I'm a late bloomer, but it tastes just as sweet when it's late." Since Courtney made her debut as Flo from Progressive in 2008, she's continued performing comedy and acting. She's appeared on shows like United States of Terra, House, and Two Broke Girls, as well as TV movies, landing the role of Kevin's mom in Fred the Movie and its sequels and spin-offs. In 2018, Courtney secured a recurring role on The Goldbergs playing Essie Karp. In terms of her own creative outlets, the iconic Progressive spokesperson has been writing her own material. She told the New York Times in 2023, "I shouldn't even say this, but I'm writing something for myself. I don't even think I should waste my time trying to pitch it to anybody because I understand that it would be received politely. It would be a great meeting. We'd have water." However, Courtney is well aware that her reputation as that lady from Progressive has pigeonholed her into a very specific niche, and she's uncertain whether she would secure funding for her own projects. Flo from Progressive is one of the most recognizable faces in American commercials, having sported her apron, winged eyeliner, and persistent grin for ages now. However, when Courtney isn't in her character's getup, she says she's rarely recognized. At the same time, the actor avoids dressing up like Flo unless she's working, despite the fact that Courtney can often go about her life without being hounded by fans for photos and autographs. Her character has achieved icon status. Joe Jonas dressed up as Flo for Halloween in 2022, fully decked out in the wig, makeup, and Progressive apron, and he shared the look in an Instagram post captioned, "Go with the flow." Where some might think the fascination with her character borders on strange, Courtney seems primarily flattered, and even told Cleveland.com in 2009, "The Halloween costume, the fact that people dress up as Flo, that makes me so happy. That's one of the highest compliments. I love that so much."